are now tuned in to United Football Media. Tell me about it, the number one show from the number one spring football media group covering the number one spring football league, the United Football League, UFL. What an amazing week 2 we just got done with. Stay tuned for the end. We're going to do week 3 previews. After our week 2 recap, man, it was impossible to decide what do we start this episode out with, because we had two, man, in most years, game of the year candidates go down on Saturday. It's almost impossible to decide which one to start with. Which one? I think I know which one Tay wants to start with. Which one do you want to start with, Tay? 2 games on Saturday.
I think the more exciting game was the San Antonio game. It has to be. It has to be.
What do you think, Axe?
Yeah, that was a great game, man. San Antonio showed so much resilience in that fourth quarter.
Okay, so we will kick things off. San Antonio, the votes have been cast. Democratic here and the United Football Media. San Antonio, Memphis Showboats. Memphis Showboats, the stacked USFL All-Star team. We got people writing multiple paragraphs in our comments in support of the Showboats and their lack of continuity last week. Second week in a row, they have failed to score 20 points. But I will say, they were clicking and in control of this game, and I love their pass protection. As I usually say, I'm Eric. I played center for 6 years. That's why I adjust our protections. We form the huddle on me. That is Tay, up-and-coming YouTube and TikTok sensation, and Axe, the coach and a sports writer. I usually talk about, my background as a center. I love me some pass pro. I love grading offensive linemen. And I loved what I saw of the Memphis Showboats offensive line. I loved what I saw out of their offense in general, except a little bit failing to finish off drives, failing to get points. And I'm sure Brandon's going to talk about that on the Captain's Log podcast right here, United Football Media. Check him out. Everything was rolling for Memphis. The offense was moving the ball, looked real good. Defense was controlling the game. Their offensive line, pass protection was fantastic. They didn't do quite enough to pour enough dirt on the San Antonio Brahmas and their VR headsets. On the offense and in the defense, I don't know what happened. What I do know is that it all fell apart out of nowhere right at the end. The Brahmas have a 20-point fourth quarter comeback, end up taking the lead with 3 seconds left. Absolutely thrilling, mind-blowing. No score is ever safe in the United Football League, and that's why it is must-see TV every weekend. Tay, thoughts on this game? You were real excited to talk about it.
I felt like if you watch the game, you pretty much think Showboats had the game in the bag. Going into the fourth, you're like, oh yeah, this game's over. Like, I'm sure some people probably turned it off. But you know what? I kept watching, and the more the fourth quarter got into play, it looked like the Brahmas just wanted it more. Like, they knew the game was still in reach. They knew they could still win the game, and he did it. They did it. Chase Garber's phenomenal game. Like that game-winning drive at the end. That's what good quarterbacks do. Like, that really impressed me. That really did impress me. Like I said, they just wanted it more. And for Memphis, you got to show a little bit more heart. Like, you cannot give up a fourth quarter lead like that. Like, if you want to be successful, you have to protect leads. Like, that's something very important, because a lot of teams take their foot off the gas when they feel as though they have the game won. And like I said, San Antonio just wanted it more. Yeah, that's definitely my game of the week. I'm sure it's probably everyone's game of the week. But Marquez Stevenson, 100 yards, 6 receptions. Like,
Star was born. He was dominating that fourth quarter.
Yeah, like when the time came, like I said, San Antonio just wanted it more. Like, and when they scored that first time in the fourth quarter, you kind of knew the game was going to get interesting, and they came out on top at the end.
So both Chase Garbers and Case Cookus had a great game in total yards.
He did.
Ran the ball well, passed the ball well, and this is another week where it's kind of like you can see it. You can see it with Memphis. They have the horses. They just haven't looked. They haven't lived up to the billing. They haven't lived up to their talent level. Last week, in my opinion, they probably should have lost. This week, they managed to lose. So pretty wild, but you can see it right there. And you can also see why Case Cookus is looked at as an MVP type player, because he was in control of a lot of that game. They just got caught. It was insane. Axe.
Yeah, it was really a tale of two halves in all honesty, because the Showboats defense was flying around. Maximilian Roberts was making a lot of plays. San Antonio had one first down in the first half. Like, it was 12-1. Daywood Davis made a lot of plays early on for the Showboats. The offense was rolling. It looked initially like it was going to be a blowout, but San Antonio had so much resilience down the stretch. Chase Garbers got hot, finished with 287 receiving yards. Marquez Stevenson played really well, as mentioned earlier, 103 receiving yards. Cody Latimer with the winning touchdown and 91 receiving yards himself. And John Trey Franklin once again with another
Kirkland.
53 yards. John Trey
Kirkland.
Yeah.
Our guy pitched in again, 7 more catches and a touchdown. Big three down there in San Antonio. Keep going.
Yeah, initially we thought they was going to be one of the worst offenses in the league, but early on they've been potent. And that shout out to Chase Garbers playing efficient, like keeping the turnovers low. He did have one interception, but overall he's been playing well. Shout out to San Antonio.
Yeah, absolutely. Just an insane result. Again, just an awesome example. But you saw every aspect. You saw the different style of extra point come into play. You saw our first fourth and keep it play, where instead of an onside kick, they ran the fourth down in the territory, got the conversion. The new technology with the first down, where they digitally place where the ball's at in relation to the first down, that saved the game, that turned the game. I don't know if you get that call in the NFL. So that was a huge thing that played into that game, and was amazing to see. So many aspects of the amazing comeback that we saw was germane to the United Football League, and that's why it's must see every weekend. In case you still possibly had any doubts about that, we saw a quarterback duel for the ages happen same day, Saturday night, in front of a spring league record 40,000 fans in the Battle Dome in St. Louis. Phenomenal game, phenomenal back and forth game. Both quarterbacks had fantastic numbers, quarterback ratings of over 100. Luis Perez, AJ McCarron going back and forth. And it was an awesome type of game, and that it was almost 2 games in one, where you saw 0-0 going in the second quarter, defensive battle in the first half, but it was the best kind of defensive battle where both offenses were moving the ball, but both defenses would just make plays at the right time and in the right places to stop points from going up on the board. Then in the second half, we're off to the races. We got both quarterbacks slinging it all over the place, back and forth scores. Big time players making big time plays. Defensive player of the year from the USFL making huge plays for the Battlehawks. We have Vic Beasley getting in on the act, getting a sack. Marcel Aitman was destroying that Arlington secondary. And then Luis Perez was doing his thing all over the place on the other side, living up to what we thought that Arlington offense was going to be. We still think Arlington has a chance to do a lot of big things. Just ended up being on the wrong end of a phenomenal game on Saturday night. Battlehawks take the win. Tay, thoughts?
First off, I want to say that crowd was packed.
Yes.
Yeah, that was great to see. I'll start off with the Battlehawks. This was the offense I was talking about before the season. Last week had a a hiccup. That's all right. It was like I said, it was week 1. No overreactions, and this was the potential of the Battlehawks offense. AJ McCarron was doing AJ McCarron things. We all know how talented he is. That run game was the key for them to win the game. Mateo Durant did whatever he wanted every time he got the ball. 7 yards to carry, 14 carries, 104 yards, and a touchdown. That's everything you want out of a running back. If you clip the 100 yards and 7 yards to carry, that's amazing. Like, you were dominant. Yeah, Marcel Aitman, 100 yards. Just everyone pitching in. They ran the ball. The quarterback play was great. Receivers all chipped in. That's how you win games. Everyone, the defense, they got to the quarterback. Yeah, that's how you win games. And the Renegades played a good game too. They just lost. Like, that's unfortunate. Sometimes you just lose to the better team. Like, again, the Renegades, the run game wasn't there. It wasn't there like how it was for the Battlehawks, but on the same side, they still kept up. Like, Luis Perez, he did his thing. I think they still have a good chance later in the season. Like, yeah, they lost. They're 0-2 now, but don't worry, they could get hot later.
I don't see how anybody could continue to doubt them, because I think other than Chase Garbers, maybe in the fourth quarter, Luis Perez had the most impressive collection of throws of the weekend, because he was making just phenomenal plays all over the place, off platform, putting it in the exact right, perfect place. Like, this offense is going to get humming. Another guy I wanted to mention on the St. Louis side that emerged was Darius Shepard, 9 receptions for 82 yards. Hadn't seen too much of him before this, but that's another emergent weapon, along with Mateo Durant, who was just gashing this Arlington defense. These Battlehawks, man, bad moon rising. This offense especially. Axe, thoughts on this phenomenal game in front of 40,000 people on Saturday night?
Well, we had all kind of predicted that it would be a competitive game, XFL type of game rematch, high quarterback level play, great receiver play. Once again, Marcel Aitman with a huge performance, 114 yards. Shepard making big plays as wide receiver 2. That helps out. And then Durant getting it going, because last week St. Louis didn't really establish a running game that well. So Durant being able to balance out that potent passing game that St. Louis has, very impressive. So I'm expecting St. Louis to still play at a high level, even though they lost their first game. And I expect Arlington to eventually get in the win column. They just played 2 very tough teams. They started off with Birmingham, then they played St. Louis, and they were in both games. So there's nothing to overreact to. They just have to execute slightly better. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, that was Arlington's calling card last year. They weren't even a winning team, and then they got hot, got some things to actually fall their way instead of the other way around, and then it was off to the races for those guys. Sunday, not quite as spectacular, although some real close games actually. Stallions go in, Detroit, Michigan Panthers. Panthers defense, again, I think they fought real hard. They clamped down on it just becomes more and more apparent every week, man. This Stallion squad is just loaded. They are loaded, but on both sides of the ball. And Michigan fought them hard. This offense is concerning. I'm not going to lie. And I was really confused about what was going on with the play calling on the Michigan side, because they had the leading rusher in the league last week. You would think you would want to keep that, to try and help your defense as much as you possibly can against this loaded Birmingham Stallions offense. And they were just empty gunning it over and over and over. And EJ Perry, no disrespect, and things can change over the course of the season, but it has not looked good at all. And so I don't know why you're putting EJ Perry back in an empty gun so often. Especially, it looks like there's some confusion on some of the protection packages, because the left tackle for Birmingham twice in this game blocked down when he should have took the outside edge threat. and gave up a completely free rusher, namely on 4th down when Michigan was trying to tie the game up down in Birmingham territory at the very end of the game. Left tackle blocks down, doesn't take the outside edge, leaves former first-round draft pick of the Dallas Cowboys, Taco Charlton, completely unblocked to come in and get the sack on E.J. Perry and end the game. Michigan fought hard, did a very admirable job against this loaded Stallions offense. I still think good things about them if they can kind of right the ship in that offense and in that passing game. Stallions come out with the win. Everybody pitches in, looks great again. Stallions, Panthers. Tay.
First off, I want to start on Jake Bates. Like I said last week.
Yes. He did
Something
it
is up.
this week.
Hey, again. He's either the best kicker in football, period, or it's Ford Field. It's one of them. I got whenever they're on the road, and I want to see another one because that is amazing. Like
this,
just to have that.
There's only been one NFL kicker ever who was hit back-to-back 60-yard field goals.
Yeah, like I said, he might be the best kicker. Like just in football in general. Like given the opportunity, like just to have that. It's just so valuable. Like that's amazing that they can always like all they have to do is get to the 40 and they know, they know what's going in. Like
yeah,
that's
it's such a weapon. They're very similar to Axis Ravens in that way.
Yes,
it's such a weapon. That awesome defense. All you got to do is get it to the 45 and they're going to be able to have a chance for points. So definitely, I think if they can just get a little bit of consistency out of that quarterback situation, the sky is the limit right there for what the Panthers can do and be.
Mm-hmm. I want to talk about Marcus Sims. I love the 76-yard catch. Thought that was pretty cool. I definitely, that's probably one of my favorite plays of the week. I just think Michigan has to get the run game going. It would make EJ Perry's job a lot easier. If a team knows there's no threat out the backfield, like they know they're not gonna hand it off to anyone.
That's what drives you crazy about the empty gun is it's
and
you remove all doubt if you're gonna use that league leading rusher. At least have him back there to say, hey, we might use him, hold him a little bit, like and not to mention you're putting this offensive line that was having some struggles in completely unhelped, like one-on-one situations, basically, for the most part, especially if they blitz. Like,
because then
you're removing the threat. Yeah, you're removing the threat of using the running back as well as not leaving him in there to at least help with somebody who has a busted protection, which was happening often. It's a lot of questions because you look at down the stat line for this Birmingham Stallions offense, and it's not real pretty. The defense did a great job. Neither Corral or Martinez were super effective.
Right.
Nobody in the receiving core, nobody in the running game had, numbers that blow your mind away. So it's tough when you see the defense putting off such a great effort and you see that kicker doing such amazing things. You would hope that offense can get it together a little bit, especially when you had the leading rusher. I understand that the Stallions defense was doing a good job against him today, but you don't give up on it. You don't start putting EJ Perry, who's struggling, and that offensive line pass pro who's struggling back there in the empty gun over and over. Axe, thoughts on this hard-hitting game?
Yeah, shout out to the Panthers defense because they only gave up one touchdown in the game. Everything else is field goals. The Stallions were driving. I still don't understand why they're doing the 2 quarterback thing with Corral and Martinez. While Martinez is a good running threat, he's not a threat to pass. Like, he doesn't really intimidate. He can't really make tight window throws like that. So I'm not understanding the 2 quarterback thing. I understand Corral had a bad turnover, but I don't really agree with that. That kind of kept that kind of kept the Panthers in the game, in my opinion, because you can't really gain a good rhythm when you have 2 quarterbacks, in my opinion. So I never really thought they fully clicked well. They were moving the ball better with Corral. And then on the Michigan side, EJ Perry was benched for a possession, but Danny Etling, his backup, had fumbled the next play. So he has to play at a higher level. Like that Panthers defense even got an interception in the end zone. So they literally kept him in the game all the way down. And outside the 76-yard catch, Perry really didn't do that well, in my opinion. That was
No.
76 of his 203 yards, and he completed 20 passes. So he has to play.
Tough stuff. Our final game of the week was down to the wire, and unfortunately, it is the same story for the Houston Roughnecks. So, good and bad. First of all, prayers up. Jarrett Garantano. Sucked to see him get hurt. We saw some of that potential shining through last week, him doing some of the things that he is capable of doing with the weapons that he has available to him. Got hurt early here. Didn't look effective before he got hurt. Reed Sinnett, this could be a big deal because he came in and started shredding this defense. Did fantastic. Nearly 221 yards, a touchdown, only 9 incompletions. I mean, he came in there and started tearing it up, and these offensive weapons started looking great. They were on the way to possibly putting up a pretty solid lead over the DC Defenders. DeAndre Baker, former first-round pick, stud, has had some issues off the field, has gotten that stuff straight, is doing his thing down in the UFL, comes up, incredible effort play, causes the fumble on the running back on his way into the end zone, stopping them from pushing that lead out. DC comes back down and scores. And then, as I said, same old story. Roughnecks are driving down, have a good opportunity to take this lead back. Multiple false starts. Completely no unforced errors. Unforced mistakes completely murder the momentum of this last drive they could have put together, come back ahead. DC fights hard, plays hard, started to get it going a little bit in the second half. Great crowd out there at Audi. DC gets the win. Oh, Roughnecks. They could be a bad moon rising, though. If this Sinnett thing is for real, this team could be a real problem if they can get rid of some of these mistakes. Tay, thoughts on the game?
Yeah, if you're watching the Roughnecks, I wouldn't be worried about the quarterback situation. I think Reed Sinnett came in, did just fine, took care of the ball, didn't put his team in any danger, just did what you want your quarterback to do. The defenders, like in the second half, in the fourth quarter specifically, they wanted it more, scored 11 straight in the fourth quarter. They just won the game more when it was time, when it was crunch time. Got the first win of the season after a rough week one. Jordan Teamu, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, which is okay. Every quarterback was going to throw an interception, at some point in time.
He had some highs and lows in this game.
He definitely did, because 50% completion percentage. It's like, you want better than that. You definitely want better than that. But the plus of this game, they did win the game. So you go into next week, like, let's do better. But you still take the win. You take the win. So
there was also a blocked punt. I mean, this is all the stuff that DC kind of built their rep on last year was the punt, great effort on defense, the schemes drawn up by Greg Williams. That's what won them the day to day, but also what they built the rep on last year was that physical offense, and it's still the offense, man, is struggling still. Amazing play in the end zone by the tight end, one-handed catch, incredible, one of the best catches you will ever see in your life. That was great. There were some flashes. I think we need to see some more to get the full DC defender experience going. Axe, what'd you think of the game?
Definitely think they're missing running back production. Their leading rush had 34 yards. That's not going to cut it. Jordan Teamu, he played better in the second half. Seemed like he was able to get in good rhythm with Wk2 and other receivers. I wouldn't overreact. Houston really has to get the turnover situation and the penalty situation under control. because they were coming back and making plays down the field towards the end. Reese Sinet played a very good game, but it was just you got 3 penalties to where it's 10-second runoffs in the last minute, so it just kind of messed up their comeback attempt. And the offensive line just has to be better. That's the main issue I see with the Roughnecks. They're still the fact that they're still in the game despite poor offensive line play shows the type of talent this team has, but you have to clean up them nuances in this type of league. Can't shoot yourself in the foot.
Absolutely. We're going to see. I would say overall, though, a lot of the offenses looked better. It looked like some cohesiveness is coming around for all of these squads. And we hope to see them build upon that. Coming up this week, week 3, it's going to start off 1 o'clock Eastern down in Arlington. It's going to be the DC Defenders and the Arlington Renegades, a rematch of last year's XFL championship game. Arlington. Is it going to happen again this week? You know what? I kind of feel like the DC Defenders that I saw today probably can't beat the Arlington Renegades that I saw Saturday night. It's a home game. Arlington's fighting to not go 0-3. Think I'm going to have to take the Renegades on this one. What are your thoughts on the game there, Tay?
I think this is a tough one because Arlington needs it bad. Arlington definitely needs it bad just to not get too behind in the season, but I think I'm gonna go with the Defenders.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with the Defenders. I think after that week 1, I think they're gonna put that behind them, come in, execute, and they should win by a decent amount, maybe 10.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Axe, thoughts?
Although they do have Greg Williams, the defensive coordinator, I haven't really been too impressed with the Defenders' pass defense in the first 2 weeks, and I think Perez can get comfortable against them. So I'm going to take the Arlington Renegades in this game. I just feel like I haven't been impressed with the Defenders' pass defense early on. So I'm going with the Renegades.
Hey, what are you so happy about? Because so you can tap dance on us?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Y'all both pick the same team. I like
good.
that.
Okay, good. Yeah, I tend to agree. They were that close to having a backup quarterback, go almost for 300 on him and 2 touchdowns. So, if Perez can keep things humming and keep on building continuity, that looked like it was pretty much getting there last night. Sky is the limit, I think. But I guess we'll talk about it on the next show and see how Tay feels about it then. A down south battle. Memphis Showboats, Birmingham Stallions, 7 o'clock Eastern in Birmingham. I'm interested to see the fan turnout for an evening game there in Birmingham for such a awesome team. Boats, Birmingham. I don't know if this is going to. The Boats better get it together. Like, we can talk about the talent and we could talk about the lack of cohesion and why this and why that and excuses and this and that. They better get it together or the Stallions are going to run them out of the ballpark. But on the bright side, the Boats, we'll say it again and again, they have the talent. They have the players to hang with anyone, including the Stallions. I'm still going Stallions. What do you think there, Tay?
I'm gonna go with the Showboats. I think they figured it out. Yes. I think they figured out. Like we said earlier, Case Cook is one of those guys that you just can't forget. I think it'll be a tough, gritty defensive game, like 20-19, like what we've been seeing. Yeah, I think Memphis just has the home field advantage. Or no.
Nope, it's in Birmingham.
Birmingham and Memphis ain't far from each other, honestly.
Yeah, they're away.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah.
I'm still good.
He's doubting himself now. Okay.
Nah, no. I'm not switching. I'm not
All
switching.
Right.
Well,
Axe, what do you think?
I'm going to take the Stallions in this one, but I think it'll be a close game. I do think Cookus and Daywood Davis will definitely have an impactful game. But I just was really impressed with what I saw from Taco Charlton and Carlos Davis. Like they wreaked havoc against Michigan. I think they can do the same against Memphis. It'll be a close competitive game. I don't think it'll be high scoring because, like I said, I don't really like what Birmingham's doing with the 2 quarterback system. So I don't think they'll blow Memphis out. But I'll say Birmingham by like 3 in a close competitive physical game.
I'm excited. That's another one, Tay. We're gonna have an interesting recap week next week. Sunday, high noon in Detroit. It's the Houston Roughnecks going to see the Michigan Panthers. This is going to be interesting. I think you got the league's best defense against the league's worst offense. So that is going to be very interesting to see. But then you have probably the league's second best defense against the Houston Roughnecks team offense that's very talented, but as we've seen, prone to mistakes at the worst possible time. So my heart says Roughnecks are going to finally, like I said last week, they're going to finally get over the bugaboos. Hopefully Sinnett gets some run here because he looked phenomenal against a good defense in DC. And they get a chance to run it. I'm going to go Roughnecks. Okay?
Come on, man. We got to respect EJ Perry, man.
Oh, my gosh.
Come on.
He needs to respect himself. His offensive line needs respect. No, Michigan's becoming Tay's favorite team because he loves kickers. So there we go.
Yeah, we got to respect EJ Perry. Bounce back week. I think they'll get it done. Again, they're home. 3rd week in a row. Yeah, they're home. I believe in that home field advantage, especially with the kicking situation. I would say it's cheating at that point. Yeah, I'm going with Michigan. I think Houston will struggle again. Michigan is going to be 2-1.
Okay, Axe.
That Michigan defense is pretty potent. And seeing the offensive line play of Houston and how rattled they get, I think I'm going to have to roll with Michigan at home. I'm going to have to agree with Tay on that one. Like, the way Breland speaks and the Kua fly around. And yeah, I'm rolling with Michigan. It's going to be a low-scoring game, though. Not going to be a lot of points put on the board, but their physicality is different.
I'm glad
I don't hate it.
EJ Perry.
No, it's not because of him.
What do you mean? It has to be.
As long as you don't turn the ball over. But that's a defensive juggernaut in Michigan.
We were talking about, how well Reese Sinnett was doing, but he was doing all that under a lot of pressure. He was getting waxed making a lot of those throws. So you're not wrong in those assessments. End of the week, main event Sunday, 3:00 Eastern in San Antonio. Oh boy, there might be some points in this game. The Battlehawks coming down there to the Brahma bullpen. Out there, our guys going to go visit our guys from the Cow Pasture Brahma Bullpen podcast. Check them out. They cover San Antonio. I'm expecting big things out of this. This might be the first one where it's like, yo, go ahead and hit the over on this one. San Antonio, big time offense. Chase Garber's killing it. Battlehawks, big time offense. AJ McCarron killing it. Fast track inside the dome. It might be a wild Sunday afternoon. Ooh, I'm hurting on who to pick here. I'm gonna have to go Battlehawks. We got to stick with, let's not completely abandon our initial rankings from right off the bat. I don't think that San Antonio is going to be able to have a slow start like they did against the Boats and be able to come back like that if they're going against the Battlehawks. I think the Battlehawks will pile the prerequisite amount of dirt on top of them in order to hold on to that lead properly. So I'm going to go Battlehawks. I'm hurting. I'm hurting while I'm doing it. Tay, what say you?
I'm not. This is a no-brainer for me. I'm going Battlehawks too. I'm going Battlehawks too. San Antonio, undefeated. The undefeated record will be cut short. I'm just expecting another big offensive game, like from Mateo Durant. If you can run the ball, you can do anything. Like I feel like just watching the past few weeks, it seems like the teams that are successful running the ball win the game. It just takes pressure off the quarterback. It makes you harder to guard. It makes the defense have to think more, and not be predictable, knowing you're gonna pass. So I think the run game will be successful again this week. And I got the Battlehawks on the road.
Axe, what say you?
It's gonna be tough. Like the Brahmas have looked very impressive, probably the biggest surprise of the season to start off. But I just think St. Louis has a little bit too much. I think the Aitman, Shepard, and Butler trio in St. Louis might be a little bit too much for the Brahmas. I don't think they face the offense this tough. But I don't know. I feel like it'll be high scoring yet close. I don't think it'll be a blowout. I got St. Louis by about 7 or so. Both teams putting up over 20 points. And also, I want to give a shout out to linebacker Jordan Williams on the Brahmas, number 15. He flies around a lot, makes a lot of huge plays. So that's somebody I wanted to shout out as well.
Yeah, you definitely notice him when you watch the games. Yeah.
So I don't know. It's going to be tough. Like St. Louis is going to have to bring their A game. Like the way they played against the Renegades, they're going to have to play. I got St. Louis, but in a close one. Like the Brahmas are going to put up a fight.
Well, we hope that your choice and who you pick for coverage for the UFL is not a close one, because we here at United Football Media, there's no one doing it like United Football Media. We got this show. We got, like we said, Brahma Bullpen, one of my favorites, covering San Antonio. Buck and Scout, Stallion Run, the strongest team in the league. Strong podcast, following it up. This guy who covers the Houston Roughnecks for us, I'm telling you, this guy Ace, he's going to be a star on Sirius XM radio someday soon. So catch him now while you don't have to do it behind a paywall with a subscription. The guy is so good. He'll be probably drowning his sorrows this week when he's talking about what happened with his Roughnecks. But check it out still for the quality. Webb and Alex do a great job over there. DC Defenders, we got a betting show with the captain, his sketchy mustache, his sketchy captain's hat, but he'll cover your gambling and betting needs at the end of the week every week. And of course, we here Mondays, getting you rolling every Monday, a recap, a preview. We are always back and better than ever. This is United Football Media. No one does it like this. And this is United Football Media. Tell me about it.